Students across the country are expected to participate in walkouts tomorrow as part of a nationwide movement calling for our leaders to address the issue of gun violence. It comes 1 month after the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, that left 17 dead and reignited a debate on gun reform. The safety of our students in their classrooms is one of a number of critical issues impacting our children. Another is youth homelessness. For example, the number of homeless students in New York City's public school system rose once again in 2016. The last year, the numbers were calculated, this time by 6%. That means that at some point, 1 in every 10 public school students here in New York were caught up in the city's shelter system. There's no denying that this is now a profound crisis impacting not only our region, but much of the country, with rent costs soaring and access to affordable housing diminishing nearly everywhere. Dr. Irving Redlener is one of the nation's leading child advocates, and he argues that this epidemic will only get worse as a result of federal cuts and the growing threats to Medicaid. Tonight, as part of our Chasing the Dream initiative on poverty and opportunity in America, we'll talk to Dr. Redlener and discuss his new book, The Future of Us, What the Dreams of Children Mean for 21st Century America. And he joins us now. Dr. Redlener, thank you so much for joining us again.
Glad to be here, Raphael. Thank you.
So Doctor, we'll get to the myriad issues
Sure.
affecting our children and that you write about so eloquently, particularly our poorest children, in a moment. But since we have you here, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about the shooting
Sure.
in Parkland. Well, first of all, the basic question. What are the likely psychological, long-term psychological effect for the student survivors of Parkland and for the students across the nation who vicariously experienced that shooting and so many other shootings?
Yes, of course. You know, and every time one of these incidents happen, there's a huge drama associated with the horror story that these shootings have become. And I'm thinking about in Connecticut in 2012 when young elementary school students were shot. And many killed. This particular incident in Florida, though, is a little bit different for a number of reasons. One is it's just, you know, the latest, obviously, in a what's become an epidemic of school and other mass shootings in the United States. But the thing about this is this shooting took place in a high school, and the survivors of this tragedy are particularly articulate and particularly engaged now and are reigniting the whole issue of gun controls and gun safety in a very different way. That's number one. Number two is that because of the attention that this shooting actually has gotten, there's been an impact nationally in virtually every school in the country. Every parent is worried now, is their child going to be safe at school? There's a level of anxiety that I think is now growing and is going to fuel this new movement that's been ignited by these surviving students. And I think there's no turning back now. They may actually make the big difference in actually making progress.
And why do you think the difference? Why do you think that in this case, these students responded in this way when in previous shootings they had not?
Well, let's say in the shooting in Connecticut in 2012,
they were
just
kids.
Very young kids.
Yeah.
These are high school students, particularly bright high school students, who feel like we've just had enough of this and we can't take this anymore. And also, I think that after years and years of watching our generation, the adults fail to bring some sensible control of this issue, they're taking it into their own hands. And I think there's no going back now.
And the reaction, the movement creation is going to have a positive psychological effect on the people who experience Parkland directly and on kids across the country? Sure.
You know, every time you take control over a crisis where you feel like there's something you can do, that's extremely energizing. Not only that, they're going to end up being a very potent political force here, too. And I think that politicians are going to have a lot to answer for in the midterm elections if they don't support what these kids think is a reasonable strategy to deal with guns in America.
Okay, Doctor. Well, let's turn to your book. And in that book, you make clear that you believe that one of the biggest tragedies, if not the biggest tragedies that we're facing in this country, is the number of children who cannot fulfill their dreams today.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What is preventing them from fulfilling their dreams? So many children, particularly the poorest kids.
So one of the first stories I tell in this book is about a kid I met in the early 90s, a 10-year-old. William, who was a just completely impoverished kid living in a foster shelter. Foster care shelter, and I asked him what he wanted to be when he grows up, and he looks up at me and he says, "I'd like to be a paleontologist." And I said, "Well, William, do you know what that is?" He said, "Yeah, it's somebody who looks for dinosaur bones." And I was looking at him, and I was thinking, here's a kid with no resources, not a family even, and the chances of this child actually becoming a paleontologist were basically nil. And I was thinking about my own children, and later when I had them, I was thinking about my own grandchildren. Their pathways, my kids, my family, your family, child says that, well, stay in school, study, you'll make it. William had no chance, basically. Why? He had no support. He was going to school only intermittently. There was nobody to support him, and it just wasn't going to happen. And I think, unfortunately, there are millions of children like this who live with the barriers that are represented by profound poverty, access to only very poor schools, and a cutoff of their potential and their dreams so that they won't be able to fulfill their basic potential when they get older. This is a problem, obviously, for these children and their families. But it's also now become a problem for the country. We're about to enter an era where the competition internationally from China, from Russia, from India, et cetera, is going to be severe in terms of influence and economic prowess and so on. We need all hands on deck. We need every child in America, no matter what their background, to have a clear pathway to become successful in their lives. The more children that are able to fulfill their potential, the stronger America will be. So that makes it a transcendent issue, which overrides political and ideological differences. And I think it behooves America to make sure that no child is left behind and that every child has a pathway to success.
All right, you know, one of the problems, one of the obstacles that many of these poor children faces, as I mentioned in the introduction, is youth homelessness, right? And as I mentioned in the introduction, here in the city it's been on the rise for years, and the federal figures show an increase of more than 4% in the past year. What are the biggest contributing factors leading to this?
Well, as far as homelessness is concerned, we now have a serious mismatch between the actual cost of renting an apartment in the city, almost anywhere in the city, and the resources that poor people have, or even lower middle class income people, and some middle class people, in fact. So as we have a rising cost of living for just basically renting or owning something to live in, and a static, very low income, many people living on minimum wage or close to it, people simply cannot afford the housing. And this has become a problem. More and more people are pushed into homelessness, and more families have to be living in shelters. And that, of course, presents all kinds of problems in terms of access to services, to healthcare, to schools, and so on.
All right, Dr. Ridler. The book is The Future of Us. It's a great read. I recommend it. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to talk to you.
Likewise. Thanks, Raphael.